Yes, yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Art of Performance podcast. Episode 69 will have you believe. Today is a brilliant episode. Something that both Akos and I are very passionate about, which is communication, coaching, change, psychology, that type of thing. And actually, it's probably quite a prudent episode because of the time of year that we are heading into. You've already noticed it undoubtedly. Weather's starting to change. It's a bit colder in the mornings. It's definitely darker in the mornings. Routines are starting to be manipulated. Kids going back to school, if you are parents. Motivation might start to dip and energy often follows very quickly. People generally call this like a loss of momentum, but actually for a lot of people, it's a lot deeper than that. It's a disconnect. And it's a disconnect between where they are in their goal, what they're trying to strive for, why it's important to them, etc., etc., and also where they are in something that we call the change process. And today, we're going to go through a little bit that might help you, because often what we see is people trying to force things, don't we? Always this people trying to force goals that they're just not aligned on. And you've probably heard it from some surface layer habit stacking plastered approach all over Instagram and social media, where you've got some young buck who's all of a sudden becomes a stoic and a philanthropist and a philosopher, whatever you want to fucking call it. And they start talking waffle about habit change and how you can make habits a lifelong fucking journey, and you've got to make yourself part of the process. But actually, a lot of them don't have the context or the real world application of how we apply something called the Transtheoretical model. And today, we're going to go through the stages of change in the behavior change model. So if you've ever asked yourself, why can't I stay consistent? Or why am I struggling to stick to this fucking program? Or even if you're a coach, why is this person struggling? Why are they not following X, Y, and Z? This is the episode that you need. And we are going to, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a good one, Akos.
It's going to be a good one. I'm excited for this one, mate. Absolutely excited for this one. I know my team need this one. They're going to be listening to this, and
well, you're leading it today as well. There's another.
I'm leading it. You're going to drop the knowledge bombs. I'm going to. Yeah, let's see how this goes. Yeah,
it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting. So
yeah, it's going to be exciting, mate.
Go. Let's dive into this.
Yeah, let's do it, mate. So, segment one, we're talking about what are habit-only models and why do they fall short. So, Dean, I love Atomic Habits. I do love it. It really does resonate with me, and it helped me a lot. But I've got 3 clients that I've sent the book to that haven't read it yet. So they can't even get to the point where they read Atomic Habits.
Yeah.
So you're gonna bypass Atomic Habits today, and you're gonna tell me why it's great. Why is it great? But what's it missing? Talk to me.
So I think Atomic Habits is also a great book. And by the way, for anybody listening to this, we're not here to slam Atomic Habits in any way, shape, or form. That's definitely not what this podcast is about. But I think what Atomic Habits does is it talks specifically about habit-only model. That's it. So it's, okay, well, let's change X and add X. And all of a sudden, we start generating new habits, or we talk about habit stacking in a way that often when coaches give the book out or people read the book, it's like they must be ready to start taking action because they spoke to me and I'm a coach, and now they're ready to start making a huge shift. But that's not always true. And it's not always true because some people might not be in that stage of change. And we'll come on to what those stages are later. So I think first things first, Atomic Habits is great, but it's only great if you're in a position and you've gone through a certain stage on the Transtheoretical model where it's put you at a stage, you're like, right, now I'm ready to make change and I'm ready to take action. And this is a really good example, isn't it? We've got a good example here. So let's say, right, you decided that going to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning before work is the habit that you want to build. You want to go to the gym, but you haven't even mentally committed to changing that behavior and all of the aforementioned behaviors that go with going to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning, where we start talking about actually the identity, behavior, and the attitude of the person that does do that. So all of a sudden, we're like, well, actually, what does a person who does go to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning think, act, feel, and do? And we talk about emotional triggering. So we've got how do people want to look? How do they want to think, feel, act, do? What pains do they want to move? What gains do they want to make? We've got this 7 sort of emotional triggers that we can line onto. So all of a sudden, after 4 or 5 days, the habit of going to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning fucking lands on its ass. Like, you've got clients that have done that, right? We both have.
For sure. Yeah.
We both have. And it's understanding, and then all of a sudden we're sat there as coaches. And you and I have done this. I've done this as well. And I'm like, fuck, just get up at fucking 5:30 in the morning and go to the fucking gym. Why are you making this so fucking hard? Just wake up and go. Set an alarm and do it. But you and I both know that's great. That's all well and good, gobbing off and shouting down the phone at somebody. But if you're not in the right place to make a substantial or exponential change, it gives you a false sense of progress. And it's almost like the candle's burning really, really fast and then it's gone, because we haven't kind of packed the candle out with all the other little layers that we need to support the change. And this is why I love habit-based change. I think habit-based change and goal setting and all of that is great. It does give an approach that people can land on. I just think that it's overused in this industry, but James Clear has simplified it for a lot of people. But the problem is it's kind of down the line a little bit before people can actually start reading that book, which is what I want to kind of highlight in that phase. So for me, like, habit models are great, but they do fall short because they've missed a couple of key pillars out beforehand.
Yeah.
And that's the bit where we have to talk.
Yeah. The one that I can really like resonate to is like the identity shift, isn't it? Like, you say you want to do this thing, this 6 a.m. gym thing, but you don't understand what it takes to do the 6 a.m. gym thing, and you're not making the changes to do that. So like you say, you're going to go to bed at 12 and think you're going to get up at 5 o'clock and get to the gym at 6 a.m. What's the identity shift that you need to make to do that habit? And a lot of the time they're asking us, aren't they? They're like, what do I need to do? If you're making the identity shift, what would a person do if they were going to the gym at 6 a.m.? Ask yourself. And because they need to own the decision to make these changes, don't they? There's no point giving us a list. But this is really interesting, mate. I'm excited to get into this. I'm really excited. So,
mate, what you've just said there as well, by the way, is really important before we go like any further. When we talk about habit-based change, there's no use you or I, as a coach, sitting there telling somebody that this is what you need to go and do.
Yeah.
Because if we tell somebody that this is what you go and need to do, they haven't owned that decision. They've not gone through any of the change model. So we're sat there going, I could have fucking done that. I could have gone on Google and got a list of how do I wake up at 6 in the morning and go to the gym. So we're missing a key link, aren't we? So that's
absolutely. I think we've got some good examples coming up, but the nutrition one is the one, mate, because I literally get on a daily basis, Akos, just tell me what to eat. And I'm not doing it. I will never do it. And they just keep saying to me, but Akos, just tell me, what should I have for breakfast? I'm like, mate, you don't own a decision on me telling you what to eat. We need to look at where you are right now and start making shifts towards what you could be eating better. But if I get an individual, I always come back to this. If I get an individual that's eaten Cheerios for 45 years, and now I say, right, Darren, it's your Cheerios, have steak and eggs in the morning. Because I've said it. Do you know what I mean? What's the success rate? What's the success rate? It's just like, and this is the thing, like, because my team will be listening to this and be like, oh, okay, I get it now. I get why Akos doesn't just, and again, they can use ChatGPT and be like, just do a meal plan on ChatGPT if you want. Use AI, whatever. That doesn't help you.
No, and
that
to be honest,
not make changes.
Like we're seeing already with like AI software is bumping out models and random literature that it's apparently cited this program on or whatever it needs to be. We're really starting to see that. Like AI is not that well equipped right now to be able to handle interpersonal skills, interpersonal change, coaching, and programming. It can't do it all, and it can't link all that shit together. So go and use AI, but we'll see you again in a couple of weeks' time when you do want to speak to us. That's the point.
It's the nutrition one's a big one, because it is when people start, or when they take the journey, it's a very slow process. It's like you say, I've not worked with a transtheoretical model of behavior change myself, but looking at the stages, I've organically done that and said, like, you're not ready for this change, so I can't give you this big change. I can't give you this meal plan to say you're going to eat it. You're not going to stick to it. And even if you got the result that you wanted with it, you wouldn't stick with it after, because you gains the result, and then you're like, oh, I've done that for the result. How many people followed meal plans or done a thing, got to a certain result, maybe lost a bit of weight, felt a bit better, and then went straight back to their normal behaviors? So they haven't done this layers of change. So talk to me about what the transtheoretical model of behavior change is, TTM.
So let's start with, I'm going to try and make it really simple to open up. Imagine that you're going to the doctor and you're being handed a medical prescription from a pharmacy before you've even described what your symptoms are to the doctor. Sounds fucking ridiculous. Like, the doctor's not, like the pharmacies, you're going to go there and say, I want medication. What's your problem? I don't know. What's up with you? I'm not sure, but I want that's kind of what's going on in the coaching space. People are coming to us in coaching and they're going, I'm fat, I'm unfit, I'm unhealthy, I'm unhappy. Okay, great. But what? Oh, I just need a program and I need a fucking recipe book or a fucking diet guide.
Yeah, now, just give me what should I eat?
Exactly the same. You've basically come to us. We are, and I'm going to say this, I'm using it as a metaphor. We are the doctors, in inverted commas here, okay? We are the so-called doctors. You've come to us. You've not given us any symptoms of what's going on, what your life looks like, logistics, environment, and everything else. You've gone, I want to lose weight. I'm unhappy. Fucking fix it. That's what you're asking for. And you wouldn't do that in a doctor's surgery, go to a pharmacist and ask for that, because it's absolutely absurd. And that's exactly what a lot of coaching is doing. And we're handing people these gym programs, these meal programs, or these dietary splits, macro targets to accomplish. We've even set like habit and lifestyle interventions before we've taken an opportunity to sit back, analyze where they are, who they are, what they're about, and actually if they're in a place for readiness to change. You have to be ready to change. I've got people that have come into a coaching pathway. They've gone in for a 12-month package, and the first 4, 5, 6 weeks, I'm actually working my bollocks off, getting them into a place where they're ready to change. Not layering them with shit, just giving them some really basic stuff of like, okay, so here's an example. I want you to tell me how you feel when you get a really good night's sleep. I feel fucking great. Okay, cool. What would predetermine a good night's sleep to you in your eyes? Like, and this is really basic and a simple example. Actually, This is quite advanced when you think about it in the coaching aspect. Okay, well, I'd probably do this before bed. I'd do that before bed. I'd do that. Oh, great. That's really cool. Well, in the Catalyst Project, we actually call that your power down hour. And there's some really interesting stuff with this. Would you be willing to build your power down hour? Yeah. Why do you think it's so important to build a quality power down hour? Well, you've just said, Dean, that I've never felt better when I've had a great night's sleep. So now all of a sudden, they're going through this identity shift of, I wasn't even aware that I'm fucking doing it. Yeah. Okay, great. And this is the point that we want to try and get into. So the transtheoretical model is that missing piece for people. And it doesn't matter whether you're a coach, a fitness enthusiast, somebody just trying to change their health and well-being. It kind of tells you what stage you're in, and then you can apply the right intervention at the right time. Exactly like a doctor. You come in and you've got a red backside and you don't know where that rash has come from. Well, what you do on a fucking weekend is up to you. The doctor's going to go, right, let me see what's happened to your backside. And he's going to look at your backside and he's going to go, this is interesting. It's not this. It's not this. It looks like this. Try this. You're like, cheers, doc. You walk out with your prescription. You go to the pharmacy. You say, the doc said I need to get some of this. The pharmacist then tells you, okay, here's kind of what you need to do by step process of how to apply said ointment or cream to said arse to reduce said red swelling. See what happens. You go and apply it. You do it. You then go back to the doc 2 weeks later and the doc goes, how is your arse? And you go, it's fantastic, doc. It's brilliant. I've got all my mates on it as well, right? And all of a sudden, this is a really basic example of how a transtheoretical model of change can actually take effect. So it's just a psychological framework that I think it was early 1980s or something like that, or 1970s, whenever it was, that people started to understand how to move through the process of change. And I'm, by the way, absolute shout out to Dr. Gary Mendoza. This is where all of my understanding of transtheoretical model of change, TTM, has come from learning from him, leadership management, CLM stuff, career leadership management, development work. That's where I've learned from this.
Nice.
And one of the things he always said, it's not quite a straight line. It's not as easy as going from point A to point B.
Yeah, you'll move back and forth. Yeah.
When has any journey ever been?
No.
Has it ever?
No.
Never, has it?
I would actually even say, do you know, with your doctor thing that you said is really interesting. Like, I would actually say that even that process is a bit too fast, isn't it? Like, you would love, if it wasn't the fact that we're in the surgery for about 2 minutes, you would love the doctor to explore and say, so why did, what was the lead up to this? What did you have? Like, did you change your diet? What was the thing? Like, explore some more options before go, here's your ointment and here's the thing. Because that sounds to me like, again, with a coach, you would be like, well, I've got this problem. I'm overweight and my cholesterol's out. Okay, awesome. Take this supplement and here's your program and eat the Mediterranean diet. Not simple as that. Again, no. I'd love to, but I think that's where doctors struggle. No, absolutely not. But I think that's where doctors struggle, is they're trying to treat the cause, the symptom, not the cause.
Yeah.
And then even that
this is why we've already had this conversation about GLP-1 agonists. Because that's a great example of why people take it, but actually they don't have success with it later on down the line. Because they haven't gone through this transtheoretical model of change and they haven't understood where they're at. They've gone straight into fucking action mode. And they've skipped 4 or 5 stages. So all of a sudden, you sat there going, well, you've basically just gone in the doctor's office and he's put a big fucking plaster on your ass. And he's gone, yeah, mate, we can't see it, so don't worry about it. It's not there. That's kind of the point, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the way I try, and Dr. Mendoza talks about this as well. If you can think about stages of change, like anything habit related, it's never as easy as let's climb up a simple line. We're going to get to the incline. We're done. We win. It's not like that. It's more like a spiral staircase, but it's a spiral staircase with loads of flat layer platforms on it. So you climb up 10 staircases and you probably blend out and maintain for a period of time. And then you climb up another staircase and then it models out and blends out for a period of time. That's kind of what the stage of change process should look like. Because if we let's put it this way, if somebody comes into a coaching pathway or a coaching program and like they're ready to take action, but they're still in this contemplation phase and like, oh, I don't know, we've just overwhelmed them with bucket loads of information.
Yeah.
That's it.
So if someone pays to make a change, that doesn't automatically guarantee they're in a stage where they're ready to take action, right?
No,
I mean, we get that a lot, isn't it? Like we get that a lot.
That's the point, right? Because I think like this, and we'll go through the 6 stages. Because what we have to do is we've got to treat someone like they're just thinking about it when they're ready to go. Like you've got them bored, they're disengaged, and whatever. We now need to sit and think, okay, well, where are they at? What stage are they at? So we've got 6 phases, and it's really important. And this is the point I try and make. We've got pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, and then relapse or termination. And that's kind of the separate phase. But the 6th stage, if you will, is like its own little stage. So it's 5, really.
Right.
The 6th stage is, well, what happens when we feed back into that feedback loop? And again, we've had clients fall off the radar, but the habits that they've instilled have allowed them to go back into change. So what does each one of them mean? Pre-contemplation is a really good example of this is, I don't even see the fucking problem, Dean. If I'm honest with you, they don't need a plan. They need a mirror type of environment, right? So they're like, I don't even see what you're talking about. A great example of this is caffeine. Okay? People think that they can consume caffeine before bed. So they are in pre-contemplation mode, thinking that caffeine as a natural diuretic and as an ergogenic aid and the physiological things that go on inside the system, I can nail a coffee and I can go to sleep. Yeah, nice one, dickhead. But you're not a fucking robot. You are a human being. And whether
if
you
you
like
do
it
that,
or not,
your adrenals are in some serious trouble.
Exactly. Thank you. Right? How many people have you had that have come to you and gone, yeah, I'll smash a coffee and a Monster at about 5, 6
Mate,
o'clock?
it's hard not to judge, and you don't like, because it depends who you're speaking to. Obviously, if it's a client, I'll be like, right, you're off caffeine right fucking now. And how are we going to do that?
Exactly. But this is the thing. But people do that because they're in pre-contemplation mode. They're in this very first stage. If that's the thing that we'll use caffeine, because I think it's a good example, but if that's the stage that somebody's at and we want to change where they're going, when we talk about habit-based and behavior-based change, I'm sat there going, okay, well, if you can't see the problem, I need to work on getting you to see the fucking problem.
Right. So they don't even understand that they've got a problem with caffeine. They're denying it.
No. And
right.
How many people have you spoke to? I get so fucking excited about this. How many people have you spoke to that have told you they have caffeine at X time, and you go, you really shouldn't be taking caffeine? And
you can see it in their
we've all
face.
done it.
Like,
Listen, I'll put my hand up. We've all done it. We've all gone, that's probably not the best idea. And that's it. They're going, well, I don't see the problem with that. It's fucking fine for me. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And it's always in passing conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Pick
Always
your battles sometimes, isn't it?
Pick your battles. But if we think about it from the next stage and perspective, what I need to try and do is take them from pre-contemplation mode into contemplation mode and contemplation zone, if you want to call it that. And this is the bit where it's like, all right, I'm thinking about it now. Okay. And I'm conscious. I'm aware. I'm scared. I'm worried. And it's not that we're trying to make people worried or scared. We're trying to get people to understand, right, okay, coffee. I'm sat there with you. I'm like, okay, Akos, are you aware of what caffeine actually does? Like, are you even aware of what caffeine does to the system? Yeah, it gives me loads of energy. And I'm like, well, actually, no, it doesn't give you energy. It's a stimulant, but it doesn't provide you energy. It wakes up your system a little bit. It gives you a little bit of fire.
It masks your tiredness. It tells you you're not tired, but you're really tired.
And then you and I would use analogies with people to explain to Joe Blogs and our coaching clients, well, actually, coffee does X, Y, and Z. And if it does X, Y, and Z, as an example, and then you go back and you said, have you ever heard anybody tell you that? And they're like, no. And then I can turn around, and this is where evidence-based literature, randomized control trials, even evidence-based coaching comes into play. And we're like, well, actually, we know that if you have coffee at this time, we have got evidence to say it's got a half-life and a quarter life. So if you're already tired and you're not, and you're having coffee later on in the evening, can you imagine what that's going to do to your sleep? And they're now sat there going, I didn't even think of it like that, mate. How many people have you had where you've gone, I never thought of it like that, bro?
Oh, mate, we did one for sleep. It was so powerful. It was the best intervention we've done. I've done that power down hour. We talk about the hour before sleep, and everyone, they nod away. I tell them, these are the things you can do. Some of these things, nothing gets done. We did another sleep one where I started breaking down the science. You're 3 times more likely to have a car crash with anything less than 7 hours of sleep per night. You're 1.7 times more likely to get injured in the gym with anything less than 7 hours. Started rifling these things off. Everyone's faces. It was finally aware, because I think we can easily just think, oh, well, 6 hours or 7 hours, what's the difference? And again, we're in that pre-contemplation mode where, it's not really affecting me. I'm all right.
Exactly.
And it's only when you can actually show them evidence and give them stats and go, well, this is the difference from 6 to 7 hours. And then you move them straight into that contemplation mode. That was the biggest intervention.
That's exactly what you just done there, right? So doing that, you've taken somebody from pre-contemplation mode, not even seeing the problem, not understanding the issue, and now thinking, I need to do something about this right now.
I think it's really interesting. And I'm sure they obviously they're not as this is the level and this is the level. There's in between where people would know that 6 is 7 is better than 6, but not really have that real conviction to understand the difference. But you can, if you can give them that conviction, push them into that contemplation. Now they know the exact facts and they really understand the difference between 6 and 7. You know,
I mean,
that's
we could, like, you talk about any transtheoretical model, behavior change model, whatever. Like, it's all well and good taking them from pre-contemplation to contemplation, and we could take them through all the other 3 phases, but you still have to align an identity, a value, behavior, and an attitude to that individual for them to make that change. And this is why goal setting, like leadership, leading by example for us, like all these little things kind of play their part. And if we can really dial it down, we use that model, the TTM model, and we use really quality values-based coaching and community-based coaching to make a positive change. If you are listening to this right now and you are a coach, go and read Conscious Coaching by Brett Bartholomew. Really, really good book. Really good book. It's a powerful book. And he kind of talks about some of this in his own way and shapes it in his own way. Because as a conscious coach, if you're trying to communicate in the certain models that you can follow, you can use this TTM and blend of pragmatic and practical coaching to make a change. So if you're not a coach and you're listening to this right now, you can start using these conversations we're having as a way to go, right, well, how do I take myself from pre-contemplation to contemplation? Some of you might be overweight and you might not even see that you have an issue until we start giving you statistics and evidence and facts. And maybe that doesn't hit, maybe that contemplation doesn't hit first time. Maybe to get you into contemplation mode, we need to showcase, I tell you what's a really interesting one of contemplation. I can't remember where, I think Channel 4 did it, but they brought like loads of people, couples, into a room, and they then did like a fast forward recording of them. They were sat there watching a screen of them, of how they would look and all of their health markers in 50, 60 years time if they carried on doing what they're doing. It was a health show. So if they kept eating the way they eat, sleeping the way they eat, not doing exercise and activity, all of a sudden, it showed a photo of what they could potentially look like using artificial intelligence.
Yeah, I bet that
but it also showed them some of the markers and be like, right, you're going to die by the age of 65 if you keep going the way you go.
Wow.
You're going to have high blood pressure, highly likely to have a heart attack, 7, 8, 9 times more likely to have some sort of blood clot, arterial-based, like some form of cardiovascular, respiratory-based disease, X, Y. Like, it shows them straight in plain sight. Now, that's a really powerful way to go from pre-contemplation and not seeing your issue to contemplation.
Yeah.
And you've given somebody a visual viewing point. And that's something that we do in the Catalyst Project as an example. Obviously, I don't put somebody in front of a mirror like that, but I'll go through a combined performance assessment with all of our athletes for 4 weeks. And at the end of that 4 weeks, I'll go, right, on a graph of here's all of your markers, and here's where you sit on the fucking line of strong, fit, fast, and powerful, and how you marry up against everybody else. You'll either get a green, orange, or a red. If you're a green, you're good. If you're an orange, and they're like, I didn't realize I was an orange. I didn't realize my VO2 max was red. I'm like, yeah, based on statistics, based on normative data, based on what we know for average population, your VO2 max is shit. And they're like, fuck. So I now sit there and go, well, based on all this evidence and this information in front of you, what do you want to work on? What's a big, why do you, is there, and then I explain why this is important, why VO2 max is important, why grip strength, balance, proprioception, all of these fitness markers and components. And they're sat there going, well, actually, Dean, I really want to work on my VO2 max. And I'm like, yeah, but why? Why do you want to work on your VO2 max? I'll be honest, mate, my daughter's going to have a baby. And I don't want to be the granddad that can't fucking carry him upstairs. Now, this is where we've taken them from stage 2 into stage 3, which is preparation zone.
Yeah.
Right?
Why is it always so powerful to do a negative like we do emotional triggers and stuff like this? It's an emotional trigger. It's an emotional response.
Triggers. People, and again,
people
not negative
respond
triggers,
to negative triggers so much better. Like if the doctor tells them you carry on like this, you're going to be diabetic in a year, or you're going to be this and that, they make a change. You say to them, but you could be really healthy in a year. Positive emotional trigger doesn't get the same reaction. It's mad. We love negative, don't we? We resonate to fear, staying away from fear rather than getting towards something really powerful or good to have,
Yeah.
isn't it?
I think
That
it
was
depends on
stay
the
away
person
from
as
that
well.
rather than go over there.
Yeah, I think it depends on the person as well. Because I think some people, I've had people in the past that I've coached, and I'm like, do you see your potential? Like, do you realize your potential? And we'll go through a combined performance assessment phase, get to the end of 4 weeks, and I'm like, dude, look at that. You had, and we do a core 360 assessment with them as well. So we kind of like ask them statements about themselves, whether they strongly agree or disagree with said statement. And I'm like, dude, when we started this journey, your core 360 assessment told us that you strongly disagreed with the statement that I am healthy, I am fit, I am fast, and I am strong. Well, mate, you've just proven that your baseline standard is fucking amazing, brother. Like, do you realize your potential? And now all of a sudden, they're like, holy fuck, I didn't know. So now we start this molding process of changing what was initially a negative insight or value based on how they saw themselves. And we look at it from a positive,
Positive, yeah.
influential, positive affirmation based. And we're like, right, okay, cool. So, and then I go, great question I always ask people. If there were no limitations, barriers, or restrictions, in 6 months' time, if you followed the perfect coaching program and every single problem, question, worry, query, issue ever came up in your life was answered just in this coaching program, what would success look like? And it lines the question positively. Rather than negative, we can get them into preparation mode, which is that third phase. And the preparation mode is right. I am fucking ready to start. I'm ready to go. And this is what we need, because I don't need to sit there and lecture people. That's not the point of it. We don't want to do that. We want to find a way to create momentum. So now we've taken somebody who didn't have a fucking clue caffeine was causing them a problem. We've then taken them to a point where they're like, wow, I didn't realize it had that effect. And now they go, because I think I'm ready to make a change, mate. I really, really am. And we've not in any stage of that process sat there and belt fed and given somebody a lecture. You've got to do this. You've got to do that. You've got to do this, which is what we naturally see on social media. We naturally see on social media is belt fed information with no context or nuance. And the rhetoric and the narrative is normally associated with making people feel shit. Well, dickhead, you've just fucking ruined the game of coaching. And this is the point that we go to. So, and this brings us to stage 4. Stage 4 is action, but it's not action where you go balls deep and jump into the fucking ice bath. That's not what action means. Action means what, and this is a famous phrase that you've probably heard from Atomic Habits. What's the lowest hanging fruit you can pick off? Yeah. And this is where Atomic Habits normally starts for lots of people. So they don't identify where contemplation is, and preparation is. They go straight into action and they go, right, don't worry about all that stuff. What do you need to do? And then all of a sudden, we've got our identities in the middle of the dartboard, which is the bullseye. All of the doubles and the triples around the sort of middle extremities, that's the identity-based outcomes, if you will, that we want to chase after. And then beyond that is the identities and behaviors that we need to participate in. Well, that's great. But if you're focused on the identity and you've not gone through if you're ready to do it and why you're ready to do it and seen how pre-contemplation and contemplation have an effect on what you're doing, you're going to eventually come back to square one. And I'm not saying people haven't had successful journeys with the Atomic Habits process. They have, of course they have. But often we miss the interlinking parts that come with trying to develop a coaching relationship with someone. So action on stage 4 is not diving into the whole thing and giving somebody everything. Let's go back to caffeine. Action is, right, you're one of my clients, Akos. What's the first thing that you think we could do to help with the quality of our sleep? Now that we've gone through this pre-contemplation, contemplation, but I'm not going to say that to you, but now that we've gone through this process and you're ready now, you see it, what do you think the first lowest hanging fruit's going to be that we can do? All of a sudden, you might come out with, I'm going to reduce, I'm going to have a cutoff time. And we're like, dude, that's fucking amazing. I love that. Good. Well, that's fucking fantastic. So what time do you think you'd be able to manage? There's some energy slumps. We're not just going to fix that straight away. We have to be mindful about where we're at. So we don't want to just cut coffee entirely. Where do you think you could do that? Maybe about 2 o'clock. Maybe, I don't know, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, okay, are you telling me or are you asking me? And this is what I try and get him to do. I'm like, no, I'm telling you. I'm like, good, because now you own the decision.
Yeah.
If you own the decision, I can make and create a process and an intervention that holds you to account to make the decision in the action.
Yeah.
Lowest hanging fruit.
I literally say that to my client, literally to the group all the time. It's like, Akos, just tell me what to do. What supplements I need to take? I'm not telling you anything because you don't own the decision to do that. Until you own the decision to make the change, you're not going to do it. I could tell you exactly what you need to do in 5 minutes for everything, but you've not owned the decision to make those changes, and you might do them initially for the first day, the first couple of days, but you're going to resort back. A question for you though on this one though, because this is a really good one that I'm coming up with. So the challenge that I will get at this point at action stage is they do want everything. They're not happy because obviously we're creatures of we want an instant result. We want, we've done this. What do we get back?
Yeah.
We can't, we're not very good with delayed gratification. We're not good with putting the effort in first, seeing the results later. So someone's ready to make a change and ready to actively trying to make changes, but they want to do it all. And that they're not going to sustain it.
Yeah.
So it's an all or nothing approach. We've covered this last week on the Monday mindset call. They've got to be happy to be within the gray area. So when they get into that action change, how do you align your individuals to understand, right, the change is going to happen slowly and you've got to be happy with that, because whatever we build right now, we're hopefully never going to move back, or we're going to hold this for a long, long time.
Yeah. So,
but those individuals want it well,
so they
want
everything.
Come on,
and to be honest, you can't blame them for it, because we live in a world where delayed gratification is few and far between nowadays, right? But I would say there's probably a couple of things. First of all, is expectation management. Actually showing people, if I give you all of this right now, this is what's going to happen. And we need to take them, because actually, if you think about it, they're in a pre-contemplation mode if they want it all, aren't they? Because they don't know any different. Maybe
preparation. They're ready to take action, but they don't really know what it takes until they do it, and then they realize, holy shit, I can't make these changes, right? So
I'd maybe disagree. I'd maybe say it's pre-contemplation, because they don't see the problem of me throwing everything at them,
right? Okay.
And then what then happens to their body? That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So they see it as, Akos is going to give me all these supplements, all these things, and then I'm going to make all these changes. But that becomes a coaching communication problem that we have to go, well, no, actually, if I give you all of this right now, this is what will happen. And I promise you that in 30, 60, 90 days time, you and I will be back to square one, because you didn't trust the process. Yeah. Now, you said to me you were going to join this pathway and you were going to trust the process. Are you prepared to trust me and the coaching team in getting you the best possible result that we can? Sometimes people need that conversation.
Yeah, of course.
And they're like, right, great, you're ready for it now. And then we turn around and go, right, if I actually give you all of this stuff, do you actually think, and where have you got it from, that you think you're going to make this incredible, insane change in the next 30 days? Be honest, where have you got this from? Now we're going back through pre-contemplation mode. Yeah. Because what I want to try and do is I want to get them to go into contemplation and go, fuck, Akos is right. So we have to go back to stage one. And we've got to go, well, if you want to go all in, you don't even see the problem. So we have to find a way to showcase to them what the problem is if we do go all in. And that's where we bring up a case study. And you'd be like, look, I've got experience of going all in with somebody and throwing everything in the kitchen sink at them. Do you want me to show you what happened to that person? And they go and turn around and go, really? Yeah. Adrenal fatigue, central nervous system was fucked, overwhelm.
Well, not even getting past 2 weeks, because they don't even get to there. And they can't sustain it.
And this is where we turn around and use the stress bucket analogy of, okay, great. Well, if I add this to your bucket, how much of your bucket do you think could take more? And that's where we go back and use visuals, right? So that's what I would do in that action phase. Nice. If they're in the action phase and they're like, I want it all, we go, okay, we got to go back to pre-contemplation with some of this stuff, because you're not in the right stage yet. Nice. We need to build it.
I love it. I think what I do there, I normally just say to them, that's great. let's just start with this and see how you get on, and then we'll add the other stuff. And I'm literally testing them in this phase, because I'll give them the easiest, like you say, lowest hanging fruit. This is an easy change, right? Can they sustain? Drink 2 liters of water. You know, Bob, you drink 3 cans of Diet Coke and a Monster and 2 coffees, but I can't see any water here. How much water do you drink? Well, not much. Don't really drink any water. Okay. Do you understand that's a problem? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I knew I need to drink water. Do you understand the impact on that? Yeah, I do. Awesome. Okay. This week, just go and drink 2 liters of water. Every day, drink 2 liters of water.
So this is a
Come
funny
back
thing
next
with
week.
coaching, right? Because actually, such a habit like that, we would say to people, just drink 2 or 3 liters of water a day. That's what I want you to do this week. Okay, great. But they don't own that process. They don't own that journey. So we've jumped again all the way back to action mode. And this is something that, as a coach, it's fucking hard. And we constantly have to challenge what we're doing all the time. And the best coaches, they truly do that because they're around people that are like, how can I have dealt with that better? And that's what I'll do with each call. I'm like, I'm reflecting. I'm going, what can I do better in that call? What can I do better in that call? So a great example of water. I'm like, okay, have you ever drunk 3 liters of water? Have you drunk 2 of these big 1.5 liter bottles in a day? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, great. So now we can anchor on experience. And we go, how do you feel naturally when you do? I'm like, piss like a racehorse. Yeah.
The problem is though, yeah, piss like a racehorse. That's the problem.
But then we go, would you rather piss like a racehorse? Would you rather piss like a racehorse and have all the energy in the world? Or would you rather feel sluggish and shit? And now we've got a this or that scenario. And they go, well, of course I want to feel the energy. Great. Okay. So let's go back to that and let's rethink about that. Did you know as little as 2% dehydration can see a deficit in strength of up to 10%? Did you know a 5% decrease in hydration can reduce your ability to endure effort at certain stages for up to 30%? Did you know that? And they're like, no. And I go, right. You know that session that you had in the gym last week? How did you feel? Oh, I felt fucking terrible, actually, if I'm honest with you. Great. How did you sleep? Yeah, I must probably 6 hours maybe. Okay, cool. And, early morning, you woke up, you did your routine, you did your power, your shark start routine, your morning start routine. Cool, you did all of that stuff. But let's look at your habit hacker and your habit tracker. What did you miss? Water. Okay. So this sounds really silly to you, but, and I'm talking to a client here, if I got you to add a liter of water on top of what you'd had, do you think any of these markers on the habit tracker would have changed? Yeah, I do actually. And I'm like, okay. So do you see now why the relevance and prevalence is on water and hydration for you to drink? Yeah, I do, Dean. Great. So here's a question for you. What's the lowest and easiest hanging fruit that we can pick off this week? What's the one thing that you can focus on that relates to hydration that we can do? I don't fucking, honestly, Dean, I don't know. Drink some more water. And I'm like, okay, that's not a bad start. Can I present an idea to you? Yeah, that'd be great. I'm like, have you got a nice water bottle? And they're like, no, I just fucking buy the little tiny ones. And I'm like, it's clicked. You're using the poxy little water bottles, 500 ml water bottles. So no wonder why you're not getting water in. I'm like, right, mate, what I want you to do, I want you to go to the shop and buy a Volvic 1.5 liter bottle. And I want you to fill it up twice every day. That's your goal next week. You think you do that for me? Yeah, cool. And every single day next week, you're going to message me before you go to bed and tell me that you've drunk 2 liters or 2 bottles of that water. How does that sound? Yeah, great. Now we've actioned it to an accountability piece, but they now own the problem.
Oh, absolutely. But then if they still don't do it, they're not there.
Yeah.
Then that's what I'm saying. So they did 5. At the end of the week, they've done 5 days out of the 7 and they haven't done the full week. But then it's like, that's my sort of, at that point, that's my sort of trigger. Like, they're not ready for these big changes that they want. And then I can reframe that and go, well, can you see why it's not a good idea for me to give you this, give you that, do all of this, give you everything that you need to eat, do all the supplements, because we're still struggling with just getting 2 liters of water in.
Yeah, exactly.
So if we're not there with that, how can we give you everything? And then that helps me to get them to understand that the all or nothing approach, I can't throw everything at you. You're not going to hold it. It's not going to happen. If we've picked one of the lowest having fruits and you've struggled to make that shift, we need to understand why we're struggling to make that shift. And then let's build on that one. Once we've built that one, then we can move on to something else. Then we can say, right, yeah, we've got that. And that's how it works. It doesn't work where we just, the test is if we've agreed something and they've absolutely owned the decision, because I love buy-in. I never tell anyone to do anything. Always about buy-in. It's it has to come from them and their decision to make the change. I literally will not answer those questions like, Akash, tell me what to eat for breakfast. I'm like, I can't tell you what to eat for breakfast. Let's have an exploration. Let's try this. And then we don't see that change, or we struggle to see that change. Then it just reinforces that it just takes a bit of time to build this stuff. It doesn't happen overnight. You know, we as coaches, we still struggle to make shifts that we've built of something for ages. And it is tough because if we drink loads of water, that's not a problem. But if there is a short-term pain linked to making a change, it's very hard to focus on a long-term pleasure. So that individual, Bob, he's done 3 days. He's drunk 3 liters of water. Day 4, he's up 4 nights, pissing like a racehorse, has the worst night's sleep ever. What's he doing on day 5?
He's got to keep now, this is the thing, right? This is why
short-term pain. He's focusing on the pain.
Yeah, and this is why I believe extreme ownership and extreme higher levels of accountability are needed.
Yeah.
And it has to come back that way. And this is what, the goal is to get them into stage 5. The goal is to get them into stage 5. Stage 5, for anybody that's been following this so far, we then move into maintenance phase where it becomes part of who that person is, part of that identity. I am now the guy that walks around with a 1.5 litre Volvic bowl. I always have been. I'm the guy that walks around with a big fucking water bowl. I'm not one of those guys that walks around with a fucking jug that takes up half the gym, but I'm a guy that walks around with a water bowl.
I was for a bit. Got rid of that. It's all right. Yeah. We're over that phase.
This is the point that we want to try and get to. So once we've taken the first little small minute step, the bit that you're referring to is creating an identity with that. Now, loads of people think it's a 66-day thing to create a habit, or it takes 60 days to create a habit. In some cases, yes, but in other cases, it's more. And all of those things are shaped on so many different interactions, so many different where you've grown up, who you are, what you've been privy to all of your life. And we can go deep into psycho, neuro, immunoendocrinology, how everything interlinks and works. Everything about you is so individual and complex. And until it becomes a habit, it's just one of those things. Like me, going into the gym and spending time doing the warm-up and how I do my warm-ups it's become an identity of who I am and what I do. Why? Because I see the value in it. I know why it's important. I've gone through and done the first little steps many, many years ago, and it's become an identity shift. So I always do that because I know that if I don't, I'm not feeling as good for the session. It's exactly the same with my power down routine before I go to bed. I will never take my phone into my bed. Why? Because I know from a pre-contemplation to a contemplation standpoint what that does for my system and how I feel. I am ready to do that. I want to do that. The same with taking the first step. Well, the first step for most people in stopping having their phone in their room is for them to want to not have their phone in their room.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you have to find a space and a place to do that. And we've got to replace that with a habit that allows them to anchor their mind and their efforts and what they're trying to do somewhere. And that's why reading becomes a great anchor and a habit access stack or a change. So this is the thing that we really try and get to. They're the 5 phases. The 6th phase is a relapse phase. And that's the thing that you kind of come into where people go, right, I've lost my shit. I've gone off the rails. Well, most people, this is the thing. My advice to anybody listening to this, if anybody goes back into fucking I've got the rails, if you constantly have this rhetoric and narrative of resetting, or failing, resetting and failing means you're starting again and again and again and again and again. No. The famous quote, Albert Einstein found thousands and thousands and thousands of ways of how not to do something before he found the way of doing the thing. That's that famous quote, right? The famous old light bulb took him millions of attempts. Kept doing the same shit over and over again to find out. No, he just found 1,000,001 ways how not to make a light bulb and one way to make a light bulb. And now we've got light. Exactly the same needs to happen with what we do if we have a relapse or we go backwards on a habit. I love the words of recommitment. We're not restarting. We're not resetting. We're just recommitting. We're just getting back after it or recalibrate. We're just recommitting because it doesn't have as negative of as a set on it. It's like recommitment. All right, I'm just starting again tomorrow. That's it. If we reset, you automatically think, wipe the slate clean and start again. And that's the bit where people lose motivation, because they've got these charlatans and shithouses online that constantly just shame people for doing X, Y, and Z. And we even have these like really big echo chambers and these really cult-like opinions, polarizing opinions. That's not going to help anybody. Like, where do you think that's going to go? What do you think that's going to come from? Where do you think that's going to really stand up for people? So this is why if people relapse, and by the way, it's absolutely fucking normal. Injuries happen, stress comes up, burnout happens. If you think you're going to get away from any of that, you're mistaken.
Yeah.
But if we can build the tools that stop you going straight back to pre-contemplation mode, but you have a bit of a relapse and we need to recommit, you're going to recommit back at action mode.
Yeah.
So you're already up the pyramid.
Yeah. Love that.
And that's the point that people need to, like, you have to think about recalibration. You're not starting again. You're just going back to action mode and reapplying things that you've gone through. So
I think that just comes back down to people thinking that there's like this, I'm on it or off it. It's an all or nothing approach. We talked about it last week. It's like, you've got to be happy. Like, the first deviation off the target doesn't mean you've got to be happy in the gray area. You can't be all or nothing. You can't just be, right, I'm on it.
Yeah.
My nutrition, I'm on it. I've been really good. Okay, I've had a chicken wing. I fucked it. I'll start again Monday, and then it spirals. Why were you not happy with just being in the grey area? And we use this analogy in our team. Is like, when you get on an airplane, you're going to another country, you're going to a destination, you see on your little screens that the airplane goes from here to there, and it follows this line. And actually, the journey is 99% off course, and it's all about course correction. So you literally, plane's going too far left, let's recourse. Plane's going too far right. We've lost the altitude, let's go up and down. And every single second of that journey, the pilots are just course correcting.
Yeah.
So there is no perfect path. There is no all or nothing.
It's a great way to put it.
Being happy with small deviations, but course correcting back up. And I think this one really helped with my guys to understand, small deviations doesn't mean you're off it. You're not off it. You've not done anything. It's not like you're still on course. Just course correct very slightly. And
a really powerful question that people can ask at this stage is, what needs to be true and correct for me to move forward again? So when you have these issues and you fucked up, like you talk about the course correction. Okay, well, what do I need to do for me to fall back on course again? Well, I'm going to pull this lever. Okay, great. So you've done the little thing that you need to do to pull the lever. The same with nutrition, health, mindset, well-being, performance, whatever. What needs to be true for me to move forward again? Well, I think most of the time it's
just letting yourself off, not being perfect.
150%.
Let yourself off, mate. You miss water for one day doesn't mean you wait till next week, or you go back to Diet Cokes all night. Just let yourself off. Move forward.
That's it. And that's kind of what the Transtheoretical model is all about, mate. That TTM is what they're the stages of change that everybody has to go through in order for those things to happen. So what I would just like summarize there is, in order for you to make or take action, you have to be aware of the problem. You have to be able to see why it might be an issue and actually want to change. Once you've gone through that change process, you then need to think, right, okay, I need to do something about this before you go, I'm now going to start and prepare and then take the action, which is the smallest step. Maintenance will come by you doing it over and over and over again. And you might find yourself going from pre-contemplation into preparation, into action, into maintenance, but I've dropped back to contemplation again. That's okay. That's going to happen. But the more you do it, the less likely you are to drop back to contemplation over and over again. So that's the biggest part and parcel of this little piece there, mate, about the Transtheoretical.
It's a true eye-opener. So it's amazing to just see it in black and white and to understand the phases, isn't it? It just sort of aligns the brain to understand what we're going through and all these thought processes. Because we're doing it, but we just don't know about what we're doing, isn't it? It's fascinating.
It's putting theory into principle. And when you put it into principle, it works. Like there's hundreds of methods to get to the root cause of whatever you're trying to do. The Transtheoretical
I can absolutely see how
method.
I can really see now where you say, like, we're just trying to habit stack, but we haven't really built the foundations of trying to build into those habits. And I really like that. I'm definitely going to use that myself. I absolutely love that. I think I think this one's been a big one. I hope the team listening, everyone listening, has really enjoyed this one. I have. I know I'm really interested to dive deeper into this. Actually, bring that to my team a little bit more and ask them the right questions. The question and leading them to the answers rather than
Yeah.
and just giving them the answers. Really fascinating.
That's it, brother. That's
Loved
exactly it. And you know what? If there's anything that you can take away from this, is like, just ask yourself, anybody listening, like, what stage are you actually in with what you're doing? Whether it's training related, nutrition related, mindset, well-being. And like, the biggest thing, don't fucking shame yourself for being in an earlier process than you actually thought, because actually you've just identified a thing in a roadmap that you now need to do to go and do that. And if you can choose one, people say 1 to 2. No, choose one. Choose
Always
one
one.
behavior and match that behavior to the stage you're at and do the thing that you need to do. So if you're in pre-contemplation mode with your health and well-being and you're just not aware of it, which most people listening to this probably aren't in that stage, but if you're in pre-contemplation mode with caffeine, how do you get contemplation? Well, the behavior that you need to do is go and research about fucking caffeine and how bad it can affect sleep and performance, but how good it can be as an ergogenic aid when it's applied properly. And then all of a sudden, you've moved up a layer. The next behavior at contemplation starts, or the contemplation point in that is, right, I got to fucking do something about this, which you are now aware of. So now you've got clarity, explore the options, go, right, how could I do this? Could I actually stop drinking coffee? Yeah, I probably could. Okay, great. Well, behavior number 1, now we're in pre-preparation mode. Set the fucking date you're going to do it from. From tomorrow at 1 o'clock every day, I'm going to cut my fucking coffee. That's what I'm going to go. Bang, action starts. You've just ticked off the lowest hanging fruit to stop you from utilizing coffee.
If a person said that, would you say to them, like, so let's say I'd get that. So, someone would get to the point where they're like, right, I'm in preparation mode. Right, I'm cutting all coffee out. And I'd go, whoa.
No, never do that.
Yeah.
No,
like, just bring them back and say, okay, that's a bit too extreme. The best way.
That's not one behavior. That's a whole identity shift. We're not talking about shifting
trying
identity.
To get to the end.
Yet we're talking about changing a behavior. So if your phone is the thing that you take to bed with you every single night, now you've realized how fucking important it is not to take your phone with you to bed. Buy a fucking alarm clock for £3 on Amazon that just beeps like crazy at you. Done.
£3.
Get it. All right, maybe not £3. It might not be £3. Yeah, the old crappy analog ones. If you don't take that phone in, rather than you completely trying to overhaul, okay, I am now an elite athlete. So the biggest action for you is, I'm going to get one of those cooling mattresses. I'm going to get blackout blinds, eye mask, earplugs. I'm going to get one of those fans that go underneath the coat and blow things at me. I'm going to listen to Endel or lo-fi music. I'm going to start doing that. No, that's not one behavior.
I really want the cooling mattress. I really.
$5,500.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's why I haven't got it yet, man.
It's a big one. It's a big one. Look, I just kind of like want to highlight, in summary, that it doesn't matter what stage you're at. The 5 stages are there as an awareness piece to give you some context as to how stages of change take place. How do we make changes with people? And that's kind of what we want to try and do. And if you can choose a behavior and match it to where you're at, you'll be able to make transitional change. And that's why you need a coach, because coaches get this and they understand this, or good coaches get this. If you are a coach, start coaching the stage, not the end goal. That's the biggest bit of advice that I was probably, in fact, that's the best bit of advice I was ever given by Gary, was stop trying to coach the end goal. That's not what you're doing. You're coaching the position and the thing and the person and the stage that you're at. Where are they? How the fuck do you get them from stage here? Maybe we can't get out of this stage and into the next stage this week, but maybe in 3 or 4 weeks' time we could, if we keep doing this and this and this and this. They'll eventually get to preparation mode or contemplation.
Now we're going into layers now, mate, because coaches are in pre-contemplation thinking they haven't got a problem and they're wondering why people are dropping off their programs.
Yeah. And this is the thing.
They just couldn't stick to it.
You're
in pre-contemplation to your process of coaching.
Mate, I'm probably gonna get cancelled for this, but if you don't retain clients and athletes for longer than 6 months, 9 months, there's something wrong with your program.
Yeah. Simple
because
as that. It's
the
internal for
stages
sure.
of change that to really make effect happen and really make impact with somebody's health and well-being. If you want to do this properly, and I'm not comparing anybody to my coaching business at all, but if you're only keeping somebody for 6 months and they're walking away from you, that's not a them problem. There's something that's missing within your coaching practice and coaching principles that you need to try and change. And it could be this. So, I really challenge anybody to ask us questions on it. If it really helps and it gives you a little bit of an understanding, if it's helped reframe how you think about change. I mean, Akos has had, maybe a little bit of a light bulb moment for me. It's always good to revisit this stuff for me personally. Share it with somebody who is your classic, I'll start again on Monday, and who can't figure out why those things might be happening, because they might be in the wrong stage, not in the wrong fucking program. And that's a really important thing, because so many people blame the program. It's not the program. You're just in the wrong stage, and you're probably just winging it because you're not aware of it. If you are aware of it, or your coach is aware of it, great. And if you need help and support with either of those things, get in touch with Akos, who's got an incredible Elevate program. It's unbelievable. If Akos aligns with your coaching principles, amazing. There you go. Cracking. The same with us. If you align to how we do things, come and join us at the Catalyst Project. But for us, the Art of Performance podcast is here to give you the information and the value so you can actually make fucking tangible change and not need to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds on this type of information, because there's so much out there that you probably just get lost in. And we want to try and demythify all of that and just give you a place that you can actually come to. This is taking valuable time away from our wives, our children, our family, of which we both have, our jobs, our profession, our clients. We do this because we just fucking have such a wild passion for change and what strength and conditioning, health and performance, and nutrition and wellness is about. We really fucking do. But the second one is because we don't want to see people get burnt and hurt. Like, there's so many things there's so many amazing coaches in this industry. You just need a place to consolidate information and get that from. So that's what the Art of Performance podcast is about. A little bit of a tangent there.
I do these because I learn from you every time we speak about these things, mate, and we bounce off each other, and then
both you and I, mate. Likewise, man. I learned shitloads.
Get to join the journey, you lucky fuckers.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. Right, team. Thank you so much for listening. Wherever you are in the world, wherever you're doing, whether it's evening, weekend, whatever, daytime, we just want to take this opportunity to say thank you for listening to the Art of Performance podcast. As always, if you could like it, if you could share it, that'd be amazing. If you don't, please do subscribe to us either on iTunes, Spotify, Apple Play, Google Play, whatever it is. We do have a YouTube platform as well, which is getting built at the moment. Some exciting stuff in the future. But as always, your questions, your feedback, the interactions we get with you, they're the things that matter the most to us. We're relationship people. So please do engage. And until next time, team, we will see you in the next one. Peace.
Yeah.